Hold on. Let me ask you something. What was cooler? Those groovy clothes of the 70s you had as a kid? Or those radical clothes you had in the 80s? Let's compare the 70s and 80s kid clothes. We've looked at a lot of toys from the 70s and 80s. Today we're going to look at clothes. I know, you don't come here for fashion tips. I mean, look at this guy here. You're not coming for fashion tips. I think I slept in this shirt. But you can get this shirt. Well, you can't get this shirt. It got taken down. But you can get other shirts at junkmanmerch.com. Junkmanmerch.com. But what are we going to look at today? We're going to show you a catalog ad from the 70s of some kid clothes and compare it to the 80s. And we're going to decide which one is best. Were you cooler in the 70s, or were the 80s a cooler fashion wear for kids? Now, I'm going to say I'm coming off still being sick. Throat hurts really bad. So I might sound a little hoarse. Might even sound a little pony. But I'm not going to sound a little donkey. God, that was cheesy. That was a dad joke. I'm sorry about that. But let's dig into these clothes. Okay, look at these. Do I have to tell you this is the 70s? Do I have to tell you this is the 70s? Look at this. I don't know why that one kid's got a stick in his hand. I don't know about that. It looks like he's up to some tomfoolery, if you ask me. They got some nice little haircuts there, but we're talking about fashion. He's got a vest like the Indians would have wore. Oh, sorry, I know you don't supposed to say Indians anymore. He's got a vest like the Indians would wear. Remember those Indians? I don't know why they always patted their lips. Indians always. But look at them plaid pants. That's some ugly clothes. So let's go to the 80s and see if they get better looking. God, if my buddy came to life, he'd look like this kid right here. Them are too ugly. These are child models. These are the two ugliest kids I ever seen. Look like Mike Myers and Dana Carvey. He's wearing a Cosby sweater. Let's go back to the 70s here. Looks like these clothes were designed by a pervert. Kid clothes designed by pedos, man. What's going on in the 70s here? Little skirts barely come down past their butts. I feel creepy looking at this. So let's move on and go back into the 80s. Okay. That one girl has like this weird looking dress thing, and it's pretty high. It doesn't come down real far, kind of creepy. But at least the other ones are kind of covering up a little bit here. I don't know about that sports jacket thing she's wearing. Look at that. Real thick padding right there. But at least it doesn't look as creepy as the 70s. So let's go back to the 70s and check this out. Leisure suits for little boys. I don't know why they wanted little boys to dress like grown men in the 70s. And look at this. Looks like somebody shot a couch and made clothes out of it. That is horrible. And you got the belt that matches the clothes. It's like they're trying to make the belt camouflage into the clothes. God awful. God awful. Let's get back to the 80s here. Now this looks like my kind of 80s. Look at, it's like Jason Lee's skateboard. Awesome. This has to be the late 80s, I guess. What's it say? I don't know. I can't read that guy's shirt, but they're having fun. There is an ugly redheaded kid back there. Look like he's wearing a Batman hat, but I don't think it is. These are radical kids. They're just I don't know what to say, because to me this looks like normal clothes, because I think I would have wore some of this stuff at least back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s. So let's go back to the 70s so I can make some more jokes here. That boy's wearing a girl shirt. I never thought I'd live to see the day where a boy would be wearing a girl shirt. And then you got the buttons on the fly. You don't want button flies. You got to go to the bathroom. You're like, I got to go. You don't got time to be buttons down there. You got to go. Look at that curly head freak. And I think his jacket, I think they're saying it's reversible, like my raincoat, because it's showing a picture of a bee and it's showing him wearing that. Could be wrong, man. That's what they're showing. And then you got the boy wearing a bow tie. on a girl shirt. Let's get back to the 80s. This 70s stuff is just weird. Okay, this looks 70s. It was pulled from 80s catalog, but a very early. So we're crossing over between that 70s and 80s. You know, got the wacky 70s, so they tone it down in like 80, 81. I can see myself wearing. I didn't like turtlenecks. I always felt like somebody was choking me. I don't want to wear a turtleneck, so I wouldn't have wore that. The Asian kid up there wearing that. I don't know. Everybody's wearing it. I don't know. It says Winnie the Pooh. I don't see anything about Winnie the Pooh. Super set. It doesn't look too weird. The pants look okay. Not too crazy. Let's get back to the 70s where it was wacky. Oh, some girl got a raincoat with Oscar the Grouch on it. You got some shirts look like somebody, looks like one of them homemade shirts. Look at them with some ugly shirts. I hate homemade clothes. I go to Walmart today and I see kids. It seems like it's mostly girls walking around with homemade clothes. Ugh. You save money, Junkman. I don't care if it saves money. It looks goofy. Just, but I think, I had a Sesame Street umbrella. Just appeared in my head. I did have. That's not the one I had, I don't think. But I did have a Sesame Street umbrella. Let's get back to the 80s here. Now we're talking. When pop culture came in and really took over the fashion. We got the Beetlejuice, got RoboCop, we got Ninja Turtles. Beetlejuice. Hey Siri, when was the Beetlejuice cartoon? 1989. This might be more 90s. Maybe it was 89. RoboCop, Ninja Turtles. That's some cool. I'm going to say that was more, because by the late 80s, I wouldn't have wore this. I was like, I was a teen. I was in my high teens. I wouldn't have wore those, but hey, I would have loved to have them as a kid, although I wouldn't have known what they were as a kid in the early 80s, but still, I would have loved it. So let's go on to the next one, back to the 70s. Now, I do have some of these. I did see people wear this. This I did see back in the 70s, and I think I had one also. Not the leisure suit in the background, but that shirt, the little with the number on it, wasn't really like a jersey, but it had a number. I don't know why it had a number on it. But yeah, I think I had one of those, or I knew some people with that. And you got the super denim jeans. You didn't know why, but you knew you wanted to make that ass look good when you went to school. There we go. Super denim jeans. Look at that ugly boy bowl haircut. Okay, let's get back to the 80s. There we go. Super Mario Brothers. Like I said, by the time it came out, I wasn't gonna wear Super Mario clothes to school. I was in my teens. Again, I was in my teens, but it would have been dang awesome to have. Super Mario. Who wouldn't want to wear that? Looks better than anything of the 70s kid. They look like they're going to go sell insurance with their dad. These kids look like they're going to go home with their big brother and play some Nintendo. Sounds really good to me. I think my dog farted. Whew. Let's move on. Let's go back to the 70s here. Oh, man. This guy's got a protest sign down here. Boy and girl holding hands, some weird looking jeans. Love some jeans I would have. There's some overalls. I didn't wear overalls, but I know some kids that did. I had a kid named Billy in class. He was living on a farm. Went to his farm on a field trip one time, and they made us drink goat milk. I didn't do it. I said I drank it, but he was like, I drink goat milk every day. I drink it right out of the tip. And I was like, I'm not drinking no goat milk. My grandpa used to drink buttermilk. I don't know what that is today. I don't know how you milk butter, but he would drink it and it would stink. Gross. If I'm going to drink some milk, give me some quick chocolate milk. There we go. Let's get back into the 80s. The 70s is just, I don't know what this crap is. This looks like pure crap. One, you got the little girl here dressed like Aunt Mama Light. Look like she should be a black stereotype in a 1920s movie. Let's get out of here. This one's got ducks. That's disgusting. That is the main attraction. Let's get back to the 70s. Maybe the 70s was better. Why do they want to dress in business suits? Hey, honey, are you through covering the couch? We got some material left over. We can make Bobby some pants and a jacket. Sears is toughest jean territory. Let's get back out of the 70s. 70s is gross. Look at the 80s. There we go. What is that? Transformers on your shirt, on your sweater, on your PJ pants, and even on your underwear. Yeah. You want to have Transformers in your underwear? There you go. Transforming underwear. Oh, you want to see it transform? It goes from soft to hard. Let's go back to the 7. Let's go back here. Sizes 4 to 14. Woo! That's one fat kid. Let's go on. Oh, here, girl pajamas. Let's look at some pajamas from the 70s and the 80s. Who is that? Who's that? Sean Cassidy? Is that who that is? Robin Williams? That's how cool kids were in the 70s. Little girls had Robin Williams on the pajamas. And, of course, it was Mork for Mork and our Ork. Nanu. What did he used to do with his hands? He used to do something with his hands. Let's look at the pajamas of the 80s. Oh, horrible. Oh, maybe the 70s is better. Look at this crap. You do have the onesie. I was a fan of the onesie. Never had any, but I liked them. Maybe when I was real little, but now I'm like this age. But I just don't like that homey Little House on the Prairie, the Waltons look. I don't like that homey. Looks like they're gonna read P.B. Longstockings or something. I don't know. It just looks god awful. Let's get back to the 70s and see if it's better. Heck yeah! This is a family right here. This is the American dream. People say, what is the American dream? There you go. It's right there in print ad. Hell, I'll say it's the Earth dream, not American dream. You got little Bobby right there with his Darth Vader shirt. You got the little boy right there, Tobby. Tobby's got a Darth Vader shirt also. You got little Lisa Cummings right there with her droid shirt. You got the older teen Leslie Goodman right there. And you got the mom and dad in their Star Wars shirts also. Man, pretty good. 80s, you're going to have to do something good to get better than this. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Thundercats fucking suck. But you do have Spider-Man and Batman, Superman, so that kind of helps you right there. Let's get back. God, that's an ugly kid too. There's a lot of ugly kids. Let's get back to the 70s here. Look at these pajamas. I think when it comes to pajamas, the 70s win. You got Star Wars. There's Empire Strikes Back. Ugh. I guess it's technically the 80s then. But there's Yoda. Okay, I guess I pulled the picture wrong. This is 80, but 79, 80. So I'm going to still say it's the 70s. Buck Rogers, that was 70s. You got a robe. Always cool if you had a robe, man. I never had a robe. I always wanted a robe. Why didn't I have a robe? My life would have turned out so much better if I had a robe. I think Mr. Furley had a robe. I could be wrong. Let's go back to the 80s here. Pac-Man. Heck yeah, Pac-Man. Look at that soft football. I had a friend that had that soft football. You put clothes or something in it. I don't remember. He would put stuff in it, though. Well, it's Tron. That's freaking awesome. A Tron pajamas. Then you got a Cosby sweater, pajama shirt, a Smurf, a Spider-Man, a G.I. freaking Joe. That gives you a run for the money, but I'm still going to say 70s are better when it comes to the pajamas. Let's go back to the 70s and let's look at teens. Let's look at teen clothes here. Here's some girls right here. Pretty fashionable. Not as wacky and as corny as the young boys. You know, there were some hot girls back in the 70s, and that's not a bad looking outfit right there. Let's go to the teens in the 80s. You got Zach Morris hanging out with a fake Lisa Turtle. Cargo. I never really got into this 70s look. Fleet set, $30. Oh, but I think I have to go with the 70s girls on this one. The 70s fashion anyway. Let's go back to the 70s and look at these teen boys. What is that? It looks like a vest. No, other one with a vertical stripe. Vertical. Horizontal. Vertical. Vertical's that way, right? Anyway, it looks like you sat on a wet park bench. And that one looks like a bib you put on that, you know, when you go to the dentist and they tell you it's not going to hurt when you get an x-ray and they put that big heavy thing on you and then they flee out of the room. Yeah, they run out of the room. That's not going to hurt. Then they haul ass out of the way. Let's move on here. The 80s. Now this is, that one on the end, that's what we call a prep. That's what we call a preppy kid right there. Preppy kid. The other kid has a Letterman jacket on. That's cool. Back in the 80s, first time I heard Letterman jacket, I really thought they were talking about a David Letterman jacket. I had a friend that said he's getting a Letterman jacket, and I was all excited thinking he was going to get like a David Letterman jacket. I didn't know what he's talking about. Kid in the middle is probably more my style. Wasn't really big on long sleeves. I wore them when it was cold, but I wasn't the preppy kid on the end. That's the older brother. Probably talks you into smoking some marijuana while he shows you a porn magazine he found in the woods or something. But I don't know about that right there. So let's move on. And back into the 70s we go. Why do they try to dress them like adults? That is some horrible looking clothes. I can't tell if the middle one's a boy or a girl. I never thought I'd live to see the day. I couldn't tell a boy between a boy and a girl. Let's get back to the 80s, please. Whoa, now that's a cool kid. I would have wore something like that in the late 80s. Although my pants would have been more bugle boy, but still, I wouldn't have my collar up. I wasn't a big fan of my collar up. But them are some cool clothes. Look at it, he got some army clothes at the top, got guns and shit on it. Who don't like that? My brother in the 80s had a shirt that had a skull on it, and it said, "Kill them all, let God sort them out." I remember he got in trouble for wearing it to school one time. But that's from 8 to 20. See, even the 20s you can be cool. But now that we've looked at, teens fashion, pajamas, I tell you what we'll do now. Let's compare the 70s and 80s underwear. Let's look at kids in their underwear.
No,
First, you got this one right here. Oh, some boxer briefs right there. These ain't no underoos. You got the white shirt, you got the blue matches, white and white matches, like Walter White. Let's go to 80s and look at some underwear also. You got a Batgirl underwear, and you got.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.